Nigerian businessman Dr. A.K. Agbai has dragged First Bank of Nigeria before an Abia State High Court over what he described as premeditated fraud of over 550 million naira from his fixed deposit account with the bank. Well, according to his lawyers, First Bank has refused to return the deposit made by their client. This cumulative deposit amounting to 550 million naira was initiated by their client following the threat of withdrawal of the branch from Abriba in furtherance to his desire to sustain the development of the community, which he is a leader. Well, the businessman's lawyer said trouble started in December 2023 when their client noticed that he could not gain access to his personal account through his bank app and could not reach his business development manager. He then approached the Gwarinpa branch of First Bank in Abuja, where he was told that 55 million naira had been removed in 6 consecutive transactions, whereas he was in Umuahia when the unauthorized deductions were made.
His petitions and requests for investigation into that tampering of his funds, nothing was done about it. And this is a bank where he had several deposits. So he now asks for his deposits in case such fraudulent practices fixed deposits. In case such fraudulent practices had also extended to them, that he didn't want anything to do with them again, because they had not shown good faith in the management of the funds. And they refused to release the funds, telling one story and another, asking for time, saying they wanted to investigate. In the course of their investigation, they sacked about 9 of their staff. Issues began to come up. The deposit advices for the fixed deposits issued by First Bank, they said they were not, they could not trace it in their system, so he should go away. He wrote to the bank's MD, he wrote to CBN, and each of them were saying, we are investigating, we are looking into it, we are investigating. So he had to bring the matter to court. The total deposit of 550 million is not such funds that one would fold his hands and allow it to go to waste. So that is the dispute that is now before the court.
What date are you giving now?
Now the court has adjourned to 26th of March and the 2nd of April for hearing to commence.
A certificate of fixed deposit issued to me, 250 million and 300 million respectively, for over 10 years. From 2014, I left that because I did not want First Bank to be removed from my hometown. Then over time, as the Lord will have it, upon arrival into Nigeria, from the airport I went straight to Abuja to pick some funds. 55 million in a savings account had disappeared. And that was what triggered this. They said I had just made a withdrawal at Umuahia. I said it could not have been possible. They triggered an investigation, and it happened that indeed bank officials had withdrawn 55 million in 6 installments of 10 million and 5 million respectively, of which they accepted. They accepted responsibility, and it took about 1 week for the funds to be returned to me. It was then I became very afraid, as anybody would. Then I wrote to say I wanted to terminate my fixed deposit, only to tell me that my money was nowhere to be found. Stories. I mean, can you imagine that? And in the course of that, I've found out that First Bank has involved themselves in a lot of criminal activities of their staff. And they want to shy away responsibility, as if their staff was different from them as an institution. Fixed means that the money is locked. Nobody should have access to it. And to the extent that the bank was unaware of their staff removing funds of individuals and using them for whatever purpose, that shows that there is a problem with supervision of the bank. And then to find out that it even happened at the highest level shows that something is fundamentally wrong with this bank. The bank has become a crime scene. There's need for investigation.
All right, we had our reporter there, and they did try to speak with, the lawyers of First Bank at the venue, and I believe they declined to speak. I mean, of course, this matter is sub judice. I mean, it's in the court at this point. It started back in 2023, like he said, I believe during the time of the former chairman, Agbai Otudeko. And like he has narrated, he's obviously very hurt. And I know that this is an incident that will hurt any individual at this moment, Ayo.
Absolutely. I recall, and I'm glad you mentioned the year 2023. I remember that at that time, online banking in Nigeria was faced with a lot of challenges. People reported how they would make transactions and it would not reflect. Some people reflected how they would open their bank app and they wouldn't see any amount of money. It's not the first time we've heard stories like this, and it's not peculiar to any particular bank. There are banks in Nigeria that have received complaints, but I think in terms of response, what I know, at least from looking at the story that has come forth, is that they have instituted an internal investigation in First Bank, and a few people have been held culpable and dismissed as a result of that. I can understand the man's being aggrieved at this. If you lose 20,000 naira, 10,000 naira, you know how it is, especially if you worked hard for your money. How much more in millions? That's a big deal. So I think beyond this, it should also be a wake-up call to the banking industry for regulations to ensure that customers' deposits are protected. But I think it's a good move that they've investigated, and I hope that they've returned, if they haven't, the amount of money that is said to be missing.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The man there, he said that the money was returned, but it was when he wanted to withdraw his money that trouble started. So, it's still under investigation, and hopefully we will follow up on the story if there is any new development.